So, for those of you that may not know, Expo West is the largest natural products trade show in the United States, held in Anaheim, California. Every year, thousands of companies from across the globe come together to showcase their latest products and innovations. Last month at Expo West, there were over 65,000 people in attendance and some 3,000 companies that were exhibiting. Today, I've got Donnie Edson and Jessica Warden with us, who both attended the show. Smirk's had 10 people from our team at the show this last year. So, Donnie and Jessica, what was the general vibe at Expo West this year, and how did it compare with the previous shows?
I thought it was a great show this year. Certainly a lot more confidence for everybody, a little bit more certainty in what's going on inside of the industry. Last year was really the first Expo West coming off of COVID. No one really knew what everything was going on. Everybody was just trying to get their bearings a little bit. But this year it seemed a lot more focused. We saw more innovation happening this year as well. And just the general vibe of everybody was really good. It was a busy show. It wasn't too busy. In 2019, that's the busiest show I can remember. And it was almost too many people because you were shoulder to shoulder everywhere. So it was hard to have a focused meeting with somebody. There was just so much going on. I thought it was just the right amount of people. We started off in the organic marketplace or Fresh Ideas tent this year. And that's the very first thing that opens to start the show. And the amount of retail buyers that we saw was up a lot compared to years past. So it was really nice. You know, the show's, it's meant to launch your brand or get your brand out there in front of the retailers. It's a retail show, right? So if you have a product and you're trying to get on the store shelves, that's the purpose of going. Smirk still likes to go because although we don't sell a packaged good to the retailers, we sell to a lot of the companies that are there. So we get to at least understand some of the innovation that's happening, see some trends that are happening in the industry, meet with customers. We do meet with retailers there as well, but that's not our purpose of being there. But it's good for the attendees, or excuse me, it's good for the exhibitors when there's a big retail presence there, because the more stores that carry their products, the better it is for everybody in the industry. So I really thought it was a productive show. Again, the vibe was so much better than a year ago. It rained, so that was a little bit unpleasant, but what are you going to do? But overall, I really thought everyone was doing a good job. And I did see some innovation happening there as well. We'll talk about some of the trends here a little bit later on.
Yeah, I definitely think I would echo, all of Donnie's comments. For me, it's pretty interesting and unique in that even though I've been with Smirks for almost 4 years now, this was only my second expo because I started kind of right ahead of the pandemic. So I really only have one other year to compare it to. And I would definitely, like I said, echo what Donnie said, where people just seem to have a really great attitude and vibe about what was happening. Whereas last year it was still kind of everybody was, dusting off the cobwebs and getting back into trade show shape. And, I don't know how many people, even this year, were just like, man, I forgot what it's like to, be at Expo. It's so big and, it's so much, to walk and take in. And so again, for me, only having, been there for the second time, I thought it was really great for what I was there for. I got to see several of my customers, meet with folks that I'd been emailing with, maybe met throughout, 2022 and really got to meet them for the first time in 2023, or just, rekindle those relationships of people we've already worked with. So I think overall, that's what we go for. And I know a lot of our partners go for those same reasons. And so it's very nice to just sit down, have those face-to-face meetings all in one place and kind of really just get together with things.
So, Jessica, what was some of the interesting product trends that you noticed there at Expo West this year?
One of the things I kind of really thought was interesting is that we're really seeing a lot of that functional food element really kind of over the last several shows has kind of been a presence since the pandemic, right? People are wanting to, as they're snacking, they're wanting that snack to not just be, for fuel and calorie intake, but also to have that, health benefit. So I definitely think, this show, we were seeing some more of that, where like I saw a candy company, it was like chocolates, it was decadent, but it was, supplements. Actually, it was, melatonin and different, I think ashwagandha was one of them. And so it seems like people are really trying to really get that dual element to the things they're eating. It's not just for, food and sustenance. It's also for health benefits. I thought that was a major trend. Donnie,
So you want to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I definitely think. It's,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, I would say my favorite thing that I saw was the surplus of beverages available, because I didn't have to go very far to get a cup of coffee or a bottle of water handed to me. It was everywhere. I could not believe how much coffee and water was there. It was actually pretty incredible. But aside from that, some of the things that I kind of took, that I made note of almost, was it almost had a feel like people were trying to create nostalgic things, maybe in an innovative manner. So, when you think of, we all grew up with peanut butter cracker sandwiches, right? But
Right.
I saw a nut butter company that was using, making an oat cracker and putting peanut butter into it. It was a layered sandwich on there. I saw peanut butter and jelly all over the place, whether it was a new version of an Uncrustable or it was a peanut butter and jelly chocolate bar or whatever it was. Maybe that's just because that's what I was directed towards, but it also felt like as people were trying to do, maybe they had a new chip that was made out of, it was a protein focused chip, but it was meant to be more like a Dorito. So it seemed like to me that there was that kind of nostalgic feel that people geared towards things they grew up with a little bit more. And maybe that was just what I noticed too in some of the things, but certainly plant-based proteins were still very prevalent at the show. I don't know if they're as big as they were in the past, but they were still very prevalent there as well. Vegan was still a very big topic that we saw everywhere. A lot of people doing that, but then a lot of social responsibility things that are going on too in the industry right now. I know everybody wants more sustainability. They want to be able to tell the story of their product. They're trying to do their part to make things better for what we leave behind us. And so there was a lot of stuff with carbon neutral or carbon accounting going on, a lot of transparency with certifications and audits, and ways to fight climate change with that as well. So we definitely saw that, which is not unusual. That's the mindset of everybody at this trade show. So that's not unusual. But I did also notice a lot of innovation going on with nuts and seeds as well too. So making crackers out of seeds or nuts. Saw a lot of innovation going on with walnuts, which is encouraging because I think it's a great time to innovate with walnuts anyways. But we saw several different brands that were using walnuts, whether they're making a walnut crumble, that's kind of a meat substitute, to just a flavored packaged walnut as well. So that was really cool as well. And then still the plant-based beverages were very prevalent. I saw more innovation happening with coconut milk as well. A lot of brands were using coconut milk, which I think is great. It's one of the most sustainable, easily sourced, price-effective ingredients you can get in that plant-based beverage market. One of the cool things we saw was more Tetra Paks of the coconut milk or coconut cream as well. And I think that the applications for those are really, really good when you look at things like, aside from having it at your house to make your coffee with every morning, but when you think about food service, whereas coconut milk or coconut creamals came in a giant tin can before and you had to cut it open and then figure out how to use it, or it came in a big bag and you had to cut it open, figure out how to use it. With these Tetra Paks or these resealable packages like this, if you're a restaurant, you can get them and shake it up, pour out what you need, screw the lid on it, put it back in the refrigerator until your next application for it. So I think that we'll continue to see things happening along with those as well. Also snacks are, it's I don't even know that it's a trend. It's a lifestyle now. I think a lot of people in our generation probably snack more than they go out for meals as they're busy. So a lot of snacks, a lot of things geared around that. And then also I saw a lot of stuff with fruit. I really think that it's still got a lot of upside in the fruit category and the innovation that's happening with fruit, whether it's a dried fruit that's crunchy, whether it's a fruit that's been ground up and extruded into a bar, whether it's a fruit jerky. People like fruit and they like single ingredient fruit where there's not sugar or other fillers or junk added to it. It's just fruit. It's sweet and tasty by itself. And so I think people are going to continue to find ways to get their daily fruit intake in, but in more innovative ways as well.
Yeah, I think, in hearing you kind of recap some of those different things, I would I would definitely tag on to the sustainability piece where, we've started to see a lot of that upcycled trend, and that's certainly not going away. So we're seeing a lot of, as far as that storytelling aspect, people taking the byproducts or things that would typically be byproducts and finding really innovative ways to use them. And I don't think, that will really go away. I think basically that will just continue to gain momentum as we go from, show to show and from brands just, again, kind of anchoring their whole product line on what people before would consider, an afterthought or a byproduct. So that's been really encouraging in the sustainability realm. And then from the plant-based perspective, I think for sure it's not going away. And, to Donnie's point, where maybe not as prevalent as it might have been in the past, but I think the reason that maybe it doesn't feel as prevalent is because it's becoming more of a household term, right? It's not this new term anymore. It's kind of just every day. And then we're also seeing, instead of it just being tied to meat alternatives or a dairy alternative, it's now being launched into these other categories. So plant-based, that's how it's kind of seeing its innovation, is it's tackling other categories like dips and dressings and, things that weren't the obvious, like let's have a chicken nugget made out of seeds. Now it's like, let's have a mayonnaise made out of, whatever. And so it's kind of neat to see those continue along. And then from the dried fruit perspective, I think what was really encouraging about that is Smirk's itself kind of decided ahead of the show to really feature, single ingredient snack type option. And we get to the show and it felt very in line with what the industry was calling for and demanding. And so that was really encouraging from our standpoint of, we're really trying to foster and bring things to market that seem like everybody else is clamoring for. So
was there any surprises that you guys saw at the show, whether it was a conversation or a product or something that really stood out? Did you have any surprises this year?
I was shocked with how much waters there were, and it was, I mean, it could be just, there was like hop flavored water, like almost like you're trying to like taste an IPA, but it's water. There was a lot of waters, a lot of different beverages from that side of stuff. So a few years ago, it was energy drinks, right? It used to be all the energy drinks that came out. This year, it was just water. And so for different kinds of sparkling waters and applications with that, I would say was very interesting. But
also just stuff to like put in the water, right? So it's like the water category is growing in different ways to consume it, but then it's the powders, the hydration powders and the, different things. And I think there's one brand that's like a tablet that you put inside the water to make it fizzy. So instead of it being the sparkling water as a finished good, it was let's have tap water and make it something, more. And so I thought that was pretty, interesting and innovative.
I did see a lot of functional food applications too. A lot of mushrooms being used in things as well. A lot of probiotics being used in things as well. Again, where they're just adding it in to get more probiotics inside of it. But I do think that they'll continue to see that happening in the, especially in the snack categories where they'll start to add this stuff in. Mushrooms were in jerkies, juices, creamers, coffees. So the mushrooms were happening a lot inside of there. Boba tea was really popular too with the tapioca pearls. We even saw where you can, they make a gummy, a boba style gummy out of like a coconut gel as well too. So you can get that too, where it's a different application. But boba seems to be trending, at least with my my younger niece who's obsessed with boba and all of her friends right now. So I think a couple generations under us are really into boba right now. I've seen it pop up everywhere. Even I picked up some cup of the mandarins for my kids, and they have them now with the tapioca pearls inside of there too, little boba pearls, just for the mainstream cups of fruit that we're seeing in the grocery store here too. So that's interesting.
Well, thanks for giving us a recap on that, guys.